This is CityCast Seattle. I'm Jane C. Hu, and here's what Seattle's talking about.
Today is 420, and we love a theme. So our team put together an episode fit for the day, including a discussion around weed reclassification with music journalist Martin Douglas, an explanation on bipartisan psychedelics with Chase Hutchinson and Guy Oron, and the great ice cream/pizza debate with Lex Vaughn from The Needling. There's some truly wild ice cream and pizza flavors in that combo. You'll also hear from producer Sam J. Leeds and host Jane C. Hu. And speaking of Jane, she's out this week. I'm executive producer Ashley Smith, and I will do my best to fill in for her while she's away. But before we get to the episode, as you know, we're in the middle of inviting new folks to join our CityCast Seattle neighbor community. In fact, we only have a week left of our spring membership campaign. It's this week. It's happening right now. We've talked about some of the really cool perks that come along with being a CityCast Seattle neighbor, like exclusive podcast content and members-only events. But today, we want to linger on one of my favorite perks, neighborhood shout-outs. Does your dog walker literally go the extra mile, or does your favorite coffee shop make even the earliest mornings a little brighter? It's people and places like these who make our city shine, and we all have them in our neighborhoods. CityCast Seattle neighbors have the opportunity to submit those really cool shout-outs for a thing we call Neighborhood Shoutout. We want this to shine a light on what makes the city great. And as a CityCast Seattle neighbor, you can help us do that. To become a neighbor, just go to membership.citycast.fm/Seattle. Do you think we could get maybe anywhere between 4 and 20 new neighbors today? Come on, where's your sense of occasion? Help us reach our goal by going to membership.citycast.fm/Seattle. Now, on to the episode.
About a decade ago, young adults had already started being less likely to report drinking, but that trend has only accelerated. I think the rate was 59% in 2023 who said that, they were still drinking, and now it's 50%.
Well, we're consuming a credit card's worth of microplastics, so we're we might as well cut out the work for our liver on the alcohol.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we're drinking less. We're going to seated shows. The passage
our
of time.
Our bodies are betraying us.
Right.
We got to just lean into it, I think, if we want to keep going out,
But I do wonder, okay, so stay with me here. I saw the headline that President Trump signed an executive order where he was reclassifying weed as a less dangerous drug. And I do wonder the percentage of people who have traded in their alcohol drinking for weed consumption in some way or another, smoking edibles, tinctures, whatever. And I wonder if this shift around trying to reclassify weed is an attempt to capture a larger percentage of the market that could, under capitalism, benefit from weed not being federally illegal.
That is an interesting theory. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to get my soapbox for a minute. I report on psychedelics. I feel like I've spent way too much time learning about drug scheduling. I know a lot of people are really excited about the rescheduling. It seems like from some legal experts I've seen have said that this likely could take months, if not years, because the executive order was not actually rescheduling the drug. It was ordering the attorney general to basically initiate the process of doing that. And I think that requires the DEA to do a bunch of analyses. And we know how quickly the federal government moves. So it could be a while. And even then, it really mostly affects researchers who are trying to use weed, marijuana, cannabis, I believe is the preferred term among researchers in research studies, which also, could be great. I think it is one step closer to maybe having more options for prescription weed. But given that so many states already have just state legal programs, we'll see. It could possibly affect, the weed market. But at this point, we don't really know what that link looks like.
I think that it's a very clear measure of the effort to make more money off of cannabis, to make this more of a corporate thing if it does, in fact, become federally legal or decriminalized. And that's something that I'm skeptical of, because when talking about cannabis, I feel like we were the last generation of people who had weed dealers.
Oh my God.
I have watched many people who I really regarded well as human beings lose their hustle from, Uncle Ike being the primary weed dealer. And
Don't get me started.
Yeah, it's
The youths will never know the pain of having to like sit in some random guy's car and make small talk with him about whatever weird shit he was into at that time.
Compliment him on his pajama pants. Yep. It was
I do feel like, actually, to bring this back around to millennials, I do feel like weed stores around here are especially millennial coded. Like I will often go into one and it feels very like, a lot of them are very like 2016 millennial, if that makes any sense. Like light wood, brushed steel, like really sleek.
The gastropub look.
Yeah,
exactly.
I can't buy my weed from a place that looks like a gastropub. Like I said, I come from the generation of weed dealers. I come from, going to some random apartment complex and going into some dude's house and smoking a bong.
They've got a Grateful Dead tapestry on the wall, and that's the only decoration they have in the whole apartment.
Or like
there are a bunch of cans on the ground.
A Bob Marley poster. Yeah.
It smells kind of weird in there. Yeah.
Dr. Dre's The Chronic poster. Yeah. Oh,
classic, yeah. There's a whole culture and it must be respected, Join me in a quick daydream. Close your eyes and imagine rolling hills and vineyards, a glass in your hand, and nowhere that you need to be. Take a deep breath, let it out. Ah. If you want to make that dream a reality, head to Dundee. It's in the heart of Oregon's Willamette Valley, home of great wine and laid-back vibes. It's a place where you can make friends with the winemakers, take the windy back roads, and linger a little longer than you planned. It's just 30 miles outside Portland, and they've got all sorts of cute events. Like every third Thursday, they've got art on display with live music, food trucks, and wine tasting specials. Right now, Travel Dundee is offering a spring discount for CityCast listeners. You can visit traveldundee.com/citycast to unlock exclusive lodging promo codes for your next stay this spring. That's Travel Dundee, DUNDEE.com/citycast. Seattle's tastiest tradition is back. Seattle Restaurant Week is happening April 19th to May 2nd, and for 2 weeks, diners are invited to explore our diverse and innovative local food scene. This year, there are over 260 restaurants participating, and they're offering special curated menus highlighting their signature dishes and chef's picks. These menus are priced at $20, $35, $50, and $65, so you can find a restaurant, bar, cafe, food truck, or pop-up across the greater Seattle area that fits your budget, or maybe it just gives you an excuse to splurge a little bit. Personally, I love having a reason to explore new spots, and eating out during Restaurant Week supports our entire local food economy, in addition to the restaurants themselves, the producers, and food purveyors that they source from. Participating locations are also donating portions of their proceeds towards free community meals. Head to srweek.org to see an up-to-date listing of all participating restaurants and, most importantly, their menus. In Washington's legislative session so far, we have seen at least 2 psychedelics bills, maybe a third to be introduced, we will see. But both propose making psilocybin more available in Washington state. You all might know that I have spent the last few years covering this. I write a psychedelics newsletter called The Microdose. So obviously this is just something that I'm always interested in following. But I do think it's kind of interesting to see not just one, but two different bills being proposed. So one is a bill that would essentially put us in the same situation as our neighbors to the south in Oregon. So Oregon has a program that allows people to access psilocybin sessions. Like, it's not medical at all. You don't have to have a diagnosis. You can just sign up for a session and take psilocybin under the supervision of someone who's a trained guide. Colorado also has a program like that, which is, so we would be, following in their footsteps if that gets passed. Another bill proposes a psilocybin program that would be medical access only. So the idea would be that you would have to get a diagnosis in order to access that psilocybin. I've been talking with some grassroots organizers from Reach Washington, and they have concerns about both bills and are currently trying to make sure that either of them or both of them would allow people to still personally possess and use these. So essentially decriminalizing them in addition to having these state regulated programs. I mean, I don't know if you all have been up on the psilocybin beat at all, or if you've heard about any of these things. Has that come up for either of you?
It has. I've been following some of this. And did you all see this great article in The Stranger?
Which one?
State Senator Jesse Solomon wants to bring Ibogaine therapy to Washington.
Oh, Ibogaine.
Ibogaine. Okay,
Yeah.
See, I just read it. I don't say things out loud.
No, that's fair. That's one of those words that you would see written on the page, but how do you pronounce it? Yeah.
Exactly. And I know you're more of the expert on this, Jane, but I would encourage folks to read this, both because it has a great opening scene setting where the journalist was speaking to this state senator. Across the street was Landmark's Crest Cinema, where I'd just seen the new Knives Out movie. I told him this. What's Knives Out? Solomon said. He did not know of movies, only hallucinogens. And then it goes from there, and it's great.
I guess you can only pick one. I feel like I know a lot about hallucinogens, but not a lot about Knives Out either. To back up a little, I believe they profiled Jesse Solomon, who's a state senator. So Solomon is actually the one he's a sponsor on both of the current psilocybin bills. And he told The Stranger essentially that he is really interested in Ibogaine being his next thing. Okay, so what do you guys know about Ibogaine? Clearly Chase was like, I don't know how to pronounce it. I've read the word before, but
I have no idea. I mean, I barely know what psilocybin is.
No, that's fair. I feel like there are so many different types of psychedelic substances that for a lot of folks, they kind of just get lumped into the general, like, this thing will make me trip. I feel like Ibogaine is one of those more obscure psychedelics. In fact, I think there's polling data from the last couple of years that shows that it's one of the least known about psychedelics. In the last couple of years, it's really gained a lot of traction politically as more people have been advocating for people to study it. So it comes from specifically the iboga bush, where and a lot of it is harvested from Gabon. So it's not super common in North America, but there have been a group of people who have been really advocating for more research about it. And in particular, it's gained a lot of traction with veterans groups and, generally speaking, more conservative sides of the spectrum. So Rick Perry, former governor of Texas, has been really into it. And Texas just committed $50 million to studying it at the end of last year. $5 million in Arizona, because in part, Kristen Sinema, you might remember her, a former Arizona senator, has also just decided to really throw all her weight behind it. So I think it's really interesting that Solomon is suddenly interested in this as well.
Well, in 2024, and this was noted in the piece, he also had proposed an amendment to the state's supplemental budget to add $250,000 for research into this as a potential therapy. And the results of that are potentially going to be published later this year, because the piece also notes that a lot of this is somewhat anecdotal and that there's still more needing to be done to look into it. which sounds obviously always like a promising thing. But that's a fair amount of money for something like this.
That's funny. When you said $250,000, I was actually thinking that's not a lot of money for this.
So you think
kind
it
of
should
thing.
be more? I'm curious, like, what's the typical kind of scope that you think would be needed to really get to know whether this is something that would be good to potentially prescribe to people?
I mean, it takes a lot of money to run a clinical trial, any kind of research study. Like, you've got to pay all of the researchers for their time. You've got to actually figure out a way to source the drug that's being tested. There's just a lot of like time and protocols that go into making sure that people are safe. And not to mention that a lot of the time you have to like pay the participants as well.
So it's like the most lucrative trip sitting job that you could ever have.
But I mean, I think the bigger issue is that Ibogaine has been shown to be correlated with heart issues. And I mean, when this was first proposed, this kind of research funding came out of Kentucky, which is my home state. Specifically, this one advocate named Brian Hubbard has been like really big on trying to use states' opioid funds. So like you might know that like after we learned that opioids were bad and people were getting addicted to them, pharmaceutical companies were sued and had to pay into funds for each state to try and help them mitigate the effects of opioid abuse. And so Hubbard had proposed in Kentucky that they use their funds to pay for research on this. And so at the time I had talked to some researchers about, you know, like, is this a good use of funding? Like, should we commit several $1 million to this? And a lot of them were saying that it might be really hard to get this to be FDA approved because of its risk profile. Like, there are other drugs that are less potentially cardiac dangerous. But it seems like a lot of states have spoken and they're putting money towards it anyway. Oh, and to be clear, that is the mechanism that Solomon had said in this piece that he wanted to try and use here in Washington, too, is to use some of our opioid funds to pay for that research.
Yeah, I think it's very fascinating that, you know, you have politicians from across the spectrum investing in this. And my question would be one, like, if you're putting state funding, can we have a guarantee that if it becomes profitable, this industry, then we can keep it affordable? I also think it was interesting what you mentioned about the advocates, like talking about decriminalization. And I think that is a key sticking point. Like, will we make sure that, you know, police can't arrest someone for having a hallucinogen? And lastly, you know, if this is going to get more men into therapy, then I'm all for it.
No, totally. What's been so funny is hearing folks like Joe Rogan and like the general manosphere has been really into Ibogaine. And part of me is like, you know what? Like, if it gets certain men to take mental health more seriously, like, I'm kind of all for it. It just feels like Ibogaine is really like you're jumping to one of the most serious psychedelics. Like, it's very difficult to take casually because it's not very available and it's a really intense experience. Like, I think people often compare it to ayahuasca in that you really go to hell and back. Like, you are often like throwing up and just like having a bad time physically. But Guy, like what you brought up, I think is really what a lot of folks are thinking about too. Like a lot of advocates have been really concerned with getting Ibogaine ethically from Gabon because the current demand for it in the West, they worry will lead to extractive practices.
It is one of those things where, like, even if something is a potentially good idea or is determined to be that, you have to think about then how will the existing kind of inequalities or profit incentives make it so that these things might not be, even if they were in the first place, the sort of like silver bullet that you were looking for this crisis.
Yeah. I mean, I think the like profit margin / like money aspect of it is what got me so interested in reading this profile. I feel like I've seen very few grassroots advocates really mentioning Ibogaine as a solution. And from what I've been seeing and covering this in the US, it's really been kind of a top-down thing where there are these federal groups A lot of them have a lot of funding that have been bringing proposals to states. And it feels like now that's reached Washington. And I just find that kind of fascinating.
Do you think they'll get the money that they're looking for?
Great question. I mean, it seems like from the interview in The Stranger that Solomon has not actually proposed anything yet. Solomon specifically has tried to propose for many years now some kind of psilocybin bill in Washington, and it hasn't gone through yet. And so it feels like, if Washingtonians aren't ready for psilocybin, I don't know that they'll be ready for this other more obscure psychedelic. But other states are looking at it too, like Mississippi, which you don't think of as like a progressive drug reform state. So who knows? Anything could happen. If you're in Washington and you haven't tried King Harvest hummus yet, you're missing out on a locally made favorite. Since 1977, King Harvest Hummus has been making their small batch, fresh hummus in Portland, Oregon. It's not like an average hummus. It's a thicker texture combined with bold flavors, and it creates raving fans after tasting it. Not surprising, since it's made local and fresh on the shelf. Some of our favorite flavors are roasted red pepper, jalapeno, sun-dried tomato, and of course, the classic. You can eat this healthy dip with chips, veggies, or add it to a sandwich or wrap. Or maybe you just want to eat it with a spoon. Most people buy more than one because once it's open, this healthy dip disappears fast. You've got to try it to love it. Don't miss out on expanding your snack experience with this locally made fresh dip. King Harvest Hummus. Simple, better, one dip at a time. You can find King Harvest in the refrigerated section at your local grocery store.
Hey y'all, it's Ashley, the executive producer here at CityCast Seattle. We're in our spring membership campaign, and we have something really special for new neighbors who join over the next 2 weeks. You've probably seen Oxford pennants around town, or maybe on Instagram. They are beautiful. They're American made and just the coolest thing. They're from this company called Oxford Pennant, and this spring they made one just for us, just for Seattle, as a celebration of everything we love about our city. It's this really beautiful bluish green color. It's teal-ish, very close to our CityCast Seattle teal, and it has Seattle on it, of course, front and center, plus a little Mount Rainier icon, and it says, "I live here on purpose." Because we do. These pennants are handcrafted and designed specifically for CityCast Seattle, so you're not going to find these anywhere else. You can hang it at home or at your office, basically wherever you want to remind yourself and everyone around you that you love this city with all its quirks and delights, and you want to be part of making it better. And when you become a CityCast Seattle neighbor, you're also getting ad-free listening, invitations to members-only events, and so much more. It's $10 a month or $100 a year, and it goes directly to supporting this show and the team of locals who make it. Some of my favorite people in all of Seattle, but I'm a bit biased. Join before April 24th to get the pennant at membership.citycast.fm/Seattle. That's membership.citycast.fm/Seattle. And we'll see you around the neighborhood.
So Salt and Straw is opening a new location across from Pike Place Market.
Oh, that's going to be swamped 24/7. Wow.
And, as I was thinking of some Needly headlines about it, they've advertised that they're going to have Pike Place Market inspired flavors at this location. And I was like, oh, what if they somehow incorporate fish from the fish market? And then sure enough, I was like, wait, I should check their account to see if they aren't really doing that. And I checked their Instagram account, and they are going to do something.
What type of fish? What's the flavor?
I have been brainstorming some possible flavors.
Do tell.
I think I'm going to write something up about this. I want to see, what flavors, really kind of stand out to you that I'm just predicting might be in the mix.
Yeah, give them to us.
Rockfishy Road.
Oh, God. Okay.
Okay. I'm here for the puns. Yeah.
Chunky Monkfish.
Ooh.
Nice.
Nice.
Split Salmon Sundae.
Ooh.
That might be what they do.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Chinookies and cream with jimmies on top.
Ooh.
That's so cute.
I don't know.
I want
Cocktail
that one.
shrimp sherbet. I'm collecting a longer list. You guys got any ideas? What do you think they're going to do with the fish market?
Our producer, Sam Leeds, is guessing candied salmon, which I was not aware was a thing.
Oh,
Is
that
that
could
a
happen.
thing?
They
Unclear.
must be doing something with salmon, right?
I mean, I trust those people with my life. I remember going to one of the Portland locations where they their special flavor, seasonal flavor, was fried chicken. And I was thinking, I love fried chicken. There's no way that would work in ice cream, but I got to try it. It was incredible, actually.
What?
It was like the little crunchy bits of fried chicken, just added a little bit of saltiness.
Actually, that does sound like it might be interesting.
They're getting weird with ice cream. I do it. I like that. Whatever the fish one ends up being, I'm down to go try it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I think a lot of people are going to check it out.
All right. We'll be going to Salt and Straw and having a taste test. My thing that I'm excited about is also going to be a little bit of deferred gratification because it's not open yet. But we just learned that Stevie's Famous is opening a location in North Seattle, which will be very exciting. It's going to be on Phinney Ridge, taking the place of Zeke's. I actually haven't had a chance to try Stevie's Famous yet, so I'm up in North Seattle, so I appreciate that they're just going to come to me. Sounds like they're not opening till next summer, though. But I'm curious if you guys have had it.
You have to fill me in. I don't know what it is. What is it? I'm sorry, I'm out of the loop.
Just a good pizza. It's a good pizza spot. They do excellent like New York style slices, if I'm not mistaken. They also have custard.
Whoa. Okay, I'm in for that.
Stevie's rocks. It's really good.
I feel like I have previously expressed this controversial opinion to our team. But
Jane's pizza opinions are rough, Lex. You better buckle in.
I'll probably be here for it.
I mean,
I'll probably be here for it.
No, you won't.
I haven't yet had pizza in Seattle that has impressed me. So I feel like I am still on the quest to find pizza that I truly enjoy. I think Stevie's might be a little bit closer to what I typically look for in a pizza. So I'm excited to try it.
Interesting, because I don't remember them having a flavor of mashed potatoes and bacon, which is what you told me recently was your pizza of choice.
That is correct. It's good. Trust me. I think people are going to have to maybe like go to Connecticut to be able to try that. But you gotta take my word for it. It's worth the cross country travel.
Maybe Stevie's is listening, and when they open the new location in Phinney, they'll have Jane's Slice, and it'll be this wild, thin crust mashed potato and bacon Connecticut style.
That would make my entire life.
Fingers crossed.
I don't hate Seattle pizza, but I think I've lived in the Bay Area, and I actually think that's the capital of pizza in the country. The Bay Area has spoiled me. Absolutely. Like, I mean, I've had pizza in a lot of different cities, Chicago, New York, and I think actually the Bay Area has the best pizza, just banger all over the place.
I feel like I'm in enemy territory right now. I don't know what's happening.
For real.
Have you lived there?
I haven't, but I like pizza in Seattle. Delancey's my favorite. Like Stevie's rocks. Cornelli, hello. I feel like there's so many good spots. My friend Derek's Moto Pizza. I like Detroit style. I like Neapolitan, like the wood-fired style. So maybe that's why. I don't know. I don't yearn for pizza from other places.
All right. Well, I think we could talk about pizza for another 3 hours. So let's leave it there for now.
That's all for today here at CityCast Seattle. I'm your fill-in host, Ashley Smith. And listeners, we want to hear from you. Send us your news tips, your questions, your hot goss, or your thoughts about 420 by sending an email to seattle@citycast.fm. You can also text us or leave us a voicemail on the CityCast hotline at 206-880-3931. And remember, we're still in our spring membership drive. So if you'd like to become a neighbor and submit one of those really cool neighbor shout outs, just go to membership.citycast.fm/Seattle. And for 420, we put together a carousel of some of our favorite munchies around town. So if you want to see that, make sure you head over to our Instagram at CityCast Seattle. Until next time, see ya.
If you're enjoying the podcast, be sure to follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen so you never miss an episode. Also, leave us a little review. It's really helpful. And tell your friends about us. You can also get more local news and events delivered right to your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter. Just go to seattle.citycast.fm. And you can find us on Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok at CityCast Seattle, and you can watch full episodes of the show on YouTube.